Micheal EBONG is accused of second-degree murder in the deaths of two women that happened less than a year of each other. He's also accused of rape. Norfolk police say Sheena West was found dead November 2020 and Kesley was found dead July 2021. Both were discovered at EBONG's apartment on Hillside Avenue.
While police were investigating the deaths of the two women, he was guilty of slapping a woman's butt at a thrift store last May. Back in 2013, an exotic dancer called 911 saying he robbed her, wouldn't let her leave, and got violent, claims he denies.
I'm not stopping you from walking out of here, but I'm telling you you're not leaving with my money.
Sexual assault allegations in 2010 were dismissed, but he admits pulling out a gun during an argument.
I've made a lot of mistakes and I've had some poor judgments on my part.
Never. It's bad.
Have you ever sexually assaulted anybody?
Sexually assaulted?
Rape?
No.
Sexual battery?
No.
I want to know what happened to her from the time she walked out of that door with a big smile on her face until the next morning.
The 30-year-old from Chesapeake was found dead of a drug overdose inside Micheal EBONG's apartment this past July. Just a few months prior, 36-year-old Sheena West found dead of the same thing. Both families say the women were not drug users. What do you think about it now, looking back on taking those pictures of women that were unconscious?
I think that it's more like a male chauvinist pig mentality.
It's like Sheena, she never would have done that. Wouldn't have done that. And so I guess with the murder charge coming out, it's kind of like, we told you.
There's two women that died at your apartment. I mean, that's extraordinarily unusual.
I apologize to their families that they passed away. I never would have done anything to put those women in harm's way.
Had they done their due diligence with Sheena, I think they would have
protected a lot more people.
Exactly.
Some people would describe your behavior as predator-like with women. What would you say in response to that?
Wow. I never thought about it that way. Wow.
I don't want to deal with any kind of plea deal. I don't want any of that because that's what's been happening all along. It's all or nothing now. We don't have anything to lose. The worst thing in the world has already happened to us.
I've definitely made some bad decisions in my time, but I didn't think that I was a predator in any type of way. I never heard anybody say that to me in that way.
We want the whole entire world support, or even here in Hampton Roads, to keep this guy away from the streets so he could no longer hurt anyone.
Dramatic day in court. A Norfolk man's outburst during his sentencing. Micheal EBONG was convicted of involuntary manslaughter, causing the deaths of two women and sexually assaulting another woman.
In court for his sentencing, EBONG jumped out of his seat in an outburst, yelling and asking why someone he knew was not present in the room. Bailiffs quickly forced EBONG out of the courtroom.
He is clearly a danger to society, and his antics today in court just furthered what we already knew, is that he needs to be off the street. He's hurt so many people.
Yo, what's up, people? We is back. Another day on Keep It G News. And before I get into this video, I want to send my condolences to the family of Kesley Payton and Sheena West. You know, to lose their daughters, y'all, in such a tragic way and confusing way in the beginning, I know it was hard for them, man. Especially by the hands of somebody like this, a serial rapist, a guy that preys on women. Worst people in the world to me, man. I promise you they is. But in this video, it's not really so much about them, even though we gotta revisit the case to understand where we at today, because we talking about corruption. Corruption in the Norfolk Police Department led to this serial rapist to do it again and do it again. He had a history of it. And the corruption in this force didn't get brought to light till recently, because a lawsuit was filed by Kathy Payton, which is Kesley Payton's mother. And we're going to get into all of that. But before we do that, I got to take y'all to court one more time so you can hear from Micheal EBONG and how he felt about the situation and how he explained all of this played
Audio
out.
was also played for the jury of EBONG's statement to investigators in July 2021. In the audio, EBONG recalls what happened when he met Patton at a bar on the oceanfront. He says once they got to his apartment, they drank, danced, and had sex. EBONG claims she left the room to do drugs. He says when he got up to use the bathroom in the morning, he discovered Patton unresponsive and called 911. EBONG can also be heard saying, quote, "I'm sorry this happened," end quote, and alludes to another previous situation where a person had been found at his home.
So you know how it is with these guys. A lot of these guys manipulative. You understand? So in his mind, he did nothing wrong. You know, at least that's what he's telling the court. But you heard in the beginning, he don't even see himself as a predator. And you see how he smiled when a woman asked him that? I never thought of that. Like, I don't know how. What did he think he was doing? I don't know why he thought that the things he was doing to these women was acceptable. We talking about drugging them. And these women died from what the police called in the beginning as overdoses. But why did the police rule it's an overdose? That's the question. But I got another question for y'all. As a parent, man, what depths are you willing to go to make sure your child is safe, secure, or get him out of trouble? I remember when I was young, right? My mother stole something from me, from Toys R Us, man. I never forgot it. Because I grew up poor, yo, and I think she's saying that I really wanted it, so she snatched it from me. And to this day, I'm like, dang, yo, that was real, yo. That actually showed her love. She was willing to get herself in trouble for me. However, in this situation, we talking about protecting your child, man. And what depths are you willing to go? You know, most people would say they'd do anything for their kids, man. But in my mind, based off this case, I think anything should have limits, because I don't think that no parent should go through these lengths to protect a guy like this. A Virginia man convicted of killing 2 women was able to commit the same crime multiple times because his mother, who worked at the police department, helped squash the investigation and destroy evidence, a federal lawsuit alleges. Micheal EBONG was convicted last year of involuntary manslaughter in the deaths of Sheena West in November 2020 and Kesley Payton in July 2021. Court records show EBONG was accused of drugging the woman at local bars and bringing them back to his apartment against their will, where they later died from the drugs. But a new lawsuit from PATON'S mother against the city of Norfolk argues that her daughter's death could have been prevented if the police had properly investigated West's death just months earlier. Kathy Patton's lawsuit alleges that EBONG's mother held a position of influence within the police department and used that influence to ensure officers did not question EBONG and instead destroyed, concealed, and failed to preserve evidence of the crime. The lawsuit alleges the police department's actions constitute obstruction of justice. By obstructing EBONG's prosecution for murder, the Norfolk Police Department enabled him to remain at large in the Hampton Roads community to continue his modus operandi of drugging women at bars, removing them from the bars, taking them to his home, arming them, and sometimes killing them of an overdose from the chemicals he drugged them with, the lawsuit says. West's deaths at EBONG's apartment was initially dismissed by Norfolk authorities as an accidental overdose with no foul play suspected, according to the media reports at the time. Then less than 1 year later, in an identical scenario, Patton was found dead from a drug overdose at EBONG's apartment. Both West and Patton's families told CBS affiliate at the time that the women did not do drugs. Court records show EBONG was originally charged with second-degree murder in both women's deaths, though he was ultimately convicted of a lesser charge, involuntary manslaughter. The lawsuit says that the Norfolk Police Department were responsible for the lesser charge because they failed to preserve evidence that could have secured a first or second-degree murder conviction. A representative for the city of Norfolk denied the allegation and told insiders in a statement that the city is aware of Patton's lawsuit but has not yet been served. While the city sympathizes with Patton's family, it denies the NPD obstructed justice and it will defend the lawsuit accordingly, the statement said. The statement said EBONG's mother, Moravia Reed, worked as a civilian employee in various administrative positions within the Norfolk Police Department for 27 years. She retired in March of 2022. Reed did not immediately respond to multiple messages from the insider requesting comment. The lawsuit alleges that 9 months after West's death, EBONG drugged Patton at a local bar, brought her to his home against her will, gave her bruises on her thighs, and killed her from an overdose. The lawsuit also alleges EBONG injured Patton with blunt force trauma to the head. EBONG called police to report Patton's death as an overdose, and his mother then prevented responding officers from questioning him from the preserving evidence at the scene, the lawsuit alleges. Norfolk officers even permitted EBONG to carry Patton's body out of his home, according to the lawsuit. The lawsuit says some of the evidence Norfolk Police Department failed to preserve was Patton's purse, which EBONG said contained drugs, and whatever object EBONG might have used to inflict blunt force trauma to Patton's head. The Norfolk Police Department shockingly failed to recognize that EBONG had previously called in the overdose of West and unceremoniously sent Kesley PATON'S body to the medical examiner without recognizing the pattern of behavior and without preserving the evidence at the scene of her death, the lawsuit says. So Kathy Payton, the mother of Kesley Payton, is suing the Norfolk Police Department because Micheal EBONG's mother held positions in the apartment, and that's how he was able to keep doing these things and getting away with it. And she even accused them of hiding evidence, destroying evidence, obstruction of justice. Because though Micheal EBONG was charged with murder, because that's really what it was, they lost evidence, man. So they couldn't even secure the murder charge. He had to get found guilty on manslaughter. And everybody know, well, if you don't know, that is a huge difference between a manslaughter charge and a murder charge. Now, I'm not quite sure what happened with this guy. I think he's still playing crazy. You understand? I think he's still playing crazy, man. So this case is not all the way settled. But I just want to send my condolences to this family, man, to lose their life by this. I don't even know what you call them. You know what I mean? In my city, we call them shitballs. Straight up. And it's just sad and unfortunate, yo. And I hope they get everything that they deserve from this police department, because I agree with the mother. If this police department, the Norfolk Police Department, did what they were supposed to do in the death of Sheena West, her daughter, Kesley Payton, would have never got murdered. She'd have never lost her life because he would have been where he belongs. You understand? And that's right there in the penitentiary, yo, with guys that do these type of crimes, yo. And I think these guys need to get sentenced more than a lot of gun charges cases. You understand? It's times where a person can get caught with a gun 2 or 3 times and catch more time than somebody like him, a predator, which means if he's ever released, he'll do it again because there's something wrong with him. These guys, and I told y'all before when I touched on another one of these topics a while ago, that these guys are unrepairable. But yet and still the system gives them opportunity after opportunity. Now with Micheal EBONG case, the opportunity came in the form of his mother, man, because she was doing backhanded things and not letting the police interview him and getting rid of evidence. Insane. And as a parent, yo, I would never do that for my child. If my kid get caught up in something like this, because at the end of the day, you know your kids. You understand? She should know that her son, something wrong with him. Now, if my child do it, I'm a bad, because I know that's not in my child nature. You know, something else gotta be going on. But if you know your kids, and you know they have the capability of pulling something like this off, man, you on your own. Straight up. But this mother, I guess, you know, that's her baby. She rolled with him. But it looked like to me she should be charged criminally. But we'll see what happens, man. Right now it's just a civil case. But I'm going to keep my eye out on it. But like I say, I want to send my condolences to this both families, you know. And this is the story of Micheal EBONG, man, and his mother. And the things that she did. The desperate lengths that she's willing to go to secure her son freedom, you know, to protect her son from prosecution. And I think that's sad, man. And it hurt me to have to put this black woman face all over the internet because they hiding her. But I think she need to be shown, man, because that's your son. If you standing with him in private, stand with him in public. But let me know how y'all feel about us in the comments. This is Keeping G News. Make sure y'all subscribe to the channel.
You be dreaming about your dreams. I be living out my nightmares. I be missing out in bed. The other night she was right there. I be lurking with my bros. I be crying with my mom.